Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. I'm back at it again, man. Listen, Happy New Year to everyone. Okay, I hope everyone's enjoying themselves. Here we are sitting down talking about the New York Jets. Man, oh, man. We're right back at it. The Jets have released Dalvin Cook. We're going to be discussing that. Jets also have a game coming up against the Patriots, final game of the season. Okay? We're going to be discussing that. We're also going to be discussing some things, man. People looking at the Jets in a different way. And I want to have that discussion with y'all, all right? A lot of things moving and shaking around the New York Jets, and we're going to be talking about it all. But I'm fired up. Let me get into the show. Listen, folks, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback, okay, so that I know what you think about what I do here and how much you enjoy me talking about the New York Jets, okay? Leave me that feedback, all right? I love going back and forth. I'm also on iTunes as well, for those of you that don't know. Going over to iTunes, type in The Long Beach Joe Show. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Also, leave me a 5-star rating and give me your thoughts on there. Leave me some feedback on there. I want to thank everybody that does that as well. I appreciate everyone that does that. It helps get the show out there and everything. And, lets me know, what y'all think about what I'm doing here. Also, okay, I'm on Twitter. Going over to Twitter, at The Long Beach Joe, at The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Okay, follow your boy on Twitter. I'll follow you right back, and we can go back and forth and talk about what we need to discuss about this football team, okay? I go back and forth with a lot of people, okay? And we have a lot of fun, all right? So please do that. I'm also on YouTube as well for those of y'all that don't know, okay? Go on over to YouTube, type in Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, all right? Subscribe to the channel there. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. Also, give the videos a thumbs up. A lot of people be shocked when they check out my YouTube. They like, yo, Joe, we didn't know that you was live. We didn't know that you did the show live. We didn't know that, you serve the people. And you go back and forth. And I go, yeah, I have to let them know. That's what I do here. The shows are live. We go back and forth. We have a lot of fun. I also get hit up by the ladies as well. Joe, we didn't know you look that good. I say, listen, Happy New Year to all of you. Yes, it's your boy, okay? Thank you for the appreciation, ladies. I appreciate you, okay? I'm not arrogant. I'm just a guy working with what I got. So if you want to check out what I'm doing here, okay, come on over to YouTube, all right? Type in Long Beach Joe Jets, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so when I post content, you'll be in the know, all right? That's what it's all about here. Okay? But keep in mind, when you come over to YouTube, you're going to have to deal with some people. And they're the savages, man. That's what I call my audience. I call my audience the savages. You want to know why? They're savage. Listen, I have a lot of fun. I laugh a lot. We have a lot of great discussion. But let me tell you something, all right? The savages will get after you. They don't care who you are, where you're from. They don't give a crap. They will let you know what time it is, okay? Nobody's safe, not even me. Not even me, okay? Salutes to all the savages. I see you on the chat. Michael salutes. He says, Joe is a ladies' man. Hey, listen, I work with what I got, Michael, okay? And I love the ladies, okay? Just know, I love the ladies, all right? Venom G salutes. Good to see you in the building. Dakota salutes. Happy New Year to all of you. Venom G's, I see you. Happy New Year to y'all. Everyone's having a great New Year so far. All right, so now it's time to have this discussion. Again, call in 515-602-9639, 602-9639 is the number. We'll come to the lines in just a second. We're going to have a discussion, all right? So hold on just a second. Just going to cover a few things real quick. Starts off with the New York Jets, okay, today releasing Dalvin Cook, all right? Now, Dalvin Cook was a signing that, was a bit rough, you know what I'm saying? Didn't do much here, okay? Now, keep in mind, this was a signing that a lot of Jets fans were screaming for. So I know some of y'all want to delete those tweets now, okay? You want to delete those tweets. You want to act like you never wanted this to happen. I know some Jets fans, that's how they're going to play the game, okay? That's how they're going to play the game. But it happened, okay? There was a lot of Jets fans that were screaming for this man. As a matter of fact, when he actually showed up to camp, part of our camp before our practices, I'll never forget the video of him being there, okay, in the Jets facility, and there were Jets fans in the stands, literally, going, Dalvin Cook. So they're definitely, we're cheering for him. They wanted him to be here. But here we are. We get into the season, and things just didn't work out. Keep in mind, this was at a time as well when a lot of Jets fans wanted Dalvin Cook, and there was a lot of questions surrounding Breece Hall and his availability for the upcoming season, right? We knew that. Breece Hall had suffered that ACL injury. He was coming back, this offseason, and we were all wondering, or there was a lot of questions surrounding whether he would be back to 100%. I remember the discussion around that time was, hey, maybe Breece, we won't actually start to play him until, late November or early December and all these things. And so there was a lot of questions surrounding Breece Hall and his health and his possible availability. So the Jets did grab Dalvin Cook and brought him into the building. He ended up signing him. And things just didn't work out as planned. I know that there was a lot of complaints from him about his usage and his role within the offense. But those two things are kind of weird because, one, Breece Hall came back and looked phenomenal. And we'll talk about him in just a second. Breece Hall is unbelievable, right? Came back. He actually came back a couple of practices for some practices during the offseason, and they were just trying to get him, back, allocated into the system and make sure that everything is good and he can get his feet underneath him. And from the jump, he just hit the ground running. Breece looked amazing, okay, in camp. He looked really, really good. He was making cuts. He was taking off running and everything. And then we got into the season, and I remember Breece Hall was supposed to be on a pitch count. And even on a pitch count with the quote fingers, he was doing really well, ripped off a lot of big runs. Of course, you could see that, he was still trying to get his wind together because there were some runs early in the season that he could have broke off and had touchdowns for. But, guys would catch him because his body wasn't back to, complete Breece Hall football shape. But as we continued to see him play throughout the rest of the season, Breece Hall was unbelievable. And so that kind of made Dalvin Cook, kind of a guy that you really need to utilize much. And when we did utilize him, that was another issue with Dalvin, was his production wasn't there. Dalvin Cook was running as slow as molasses to start out the season because at first it was really just him and Breece Hall, and that's when I was wondering, hey, when are we going to get Michael Carter more involved in the running game? But we saw as we continued on throughout the season, we actually ended up dealing Michael Carter to the Cardinals. So at first it was kind of just Breece and Dalvin, Breece and Dalvin, and Dalvin was running really slow. He was running to holes, running to piles, instead of hitting the hole hard, and things just weren't working out. And he ended up kind of falling within the rotation because there were some issues, some fumbles as well, which costed us too. So we ended up, kind of pushing him back within the rotation, and we saw the emergence of Izzy Anabanakanda as the season continued to play on. Now, keep in mind, people were screaming for Izzy, me, myself as well, screaming for Izzy, pretty early in the season because we wanted to see this kid get something because Dalvin was not producing at all, and we didn't really see Michael Carter getting the ball much either. I also wanted to see Michael Carter get the ball more, but that didn't happen. He ended up getting dealt. So here, Dalvin Cook the Jets did pay Dalvin Cook $6.7 million. He had 67 carries and 214 yards. And now, he's been let go, and he can find himself, another team to compete with. As a veteran, I'm sure he's going to go to a team that's going to try to push and win a Super Bowl. So the Jets have moved on from Dalvin Cook, another guy that we've got let go. The Jets also released Roger Saffold as well from the practice squad. Now, this is strange too, because this was a guy that we actually brought in. There was a lot of injuries along our offensive line, as we all know. A lot of problems up front. And I remember when the Jets signed Roger Saffold, we were all thinking, hey, this is a guy that could be utilized on this offensive line. It could be, he could be brought in. He's a veteran. You can move him around the line. He plays, a couple positions. He's got some versatility to him. This is a guy that could really help the New York Jets. And that kind of never materialized because he never played. Nothing. We saw guys like Newman get brought up. There's various other guys get brought up, and Roger just kind of was on the practice squad, And again, he's an older guy. The Jets ended up releasing him and moving on from him as well. And again, that was a strange signing, a really strange signing, because I thought he would be utilized a bit more, especially with a lot of the injuries that we saw along the line. I mean, you look at a guy like Billy Turner, we had to utilize him in stints. He's a guy that struggled quite a bit, right, especially a tackle. But, still, Roger Saffold, nothing from him. So the Jets release Dalvin Cook and Saffold as well. It is what it is there. Now, as we continue to push on, man, listen here. The Jets got an upcoming game with the Patriots. Let me tell you, Zach Wilson in the concussion protocol currently. We're going to see what's up with him as we continue to go forward. But this is a game, man. This is the end of the year game for the New York Jets. After this is it. And we have a chance here to finish the season strong, okay? We know that the Patriots have beat the New York Jets 15 straight times. Oh, my goodness. Good Lord. 15 straight times the Patriots have beat the Jets. I think the last time that the Jets actually beat the Patriots, it was in overtime. And I think Eric Decker caught the touchdown. Y'all know how long ago that was? Good Lord, it's been brutal. But here we are, faced up against the Patriots yet again, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the New York Jets are going to be able to do. Again, the quarterback position in question, we'll see if Zach Wilson actually ends up being able to come back and get off the concussion protocol. We know Trevor Siemian is probably going to be the guy that's going to start, if so. And there's a lot of questions because this Patriots team is not the same. It's not the same, but we've seen teams that are not the same. Even Belichick this year, they're not having a great year. Okay, there's talks about him being fired, which is crazy to even hear. But, if there was any chance for us to ever beat them, this could be it for us here because they're as weak as it gets. But I'm going to get to the calls because I want to hear from y'all. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Salutes to all the savages in the chat, okay? Put your questions, put your thoughts, put your comments in the chat as well. I come to y'all. Keep in mind, I'm one man. NY Jets FL salutes to you as well. Good to see you in the building. All right? We're going to be talking about it all, man. There's quite a bit to discuss, quite a bit that we have going on. Listen, for my new callers, when you call in, please be patient. I get to everybody. Also, make sure that your phone line is good to go, okay? I want to make sure I hear you clearly. I want to make sure that you can hear me clearly. Please make sure your background is clear of noise, okay? Please. And also when you call in, there's one rule. There's no cursing on my show, okay? You curse on my show, I'll get you out of here fast. I'm talking fast. Faster than we can get Dalvin Cook out of here. That was fast. Was it too soon? I mean, come on, guys. He's not really – don't say too soon in the chat, guys. Come on. It's not like we drafted him or something, right? It's not like he's Michael Carter. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Come on, guys. It's not like he's Elijah Moore. Oh, I mean, come on, guys. It's not like he's Denzel Mills. I mean, come on. All right, guys. Y'all got to stop. All right? stop the shenanigans at this point, okay? Settle down, everyone. Settle down. We're going to get to the lines again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. First caller I'm going to is my guy, NY Jets FL. We are going to him first, okay? Jeremy, I see you. 973 will come to you in just a second. Salutes, okay? Salutes to you, Ted. Hold on. Before we even let him speak, okay? Before we even let this man talk, okay? We got to let everybody know, Ted, this man is a Salutes, Ted. Listen, we're sitting here now. The New York Jets have released Dalvin Cook and Roger Saffold. Give me your thoughts about this, man. What are your thoughts about Dalvin Cook being moved on from, the Jets paying him $6.7 million for 214 yards and 67 carries?
Hey, Joe. Happy New Year. It's been a few. My schedule was a little crazier than yours at this time of year, so blessings to you, listen, Joe. Good to talk to you again.
It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear. And again, Happy New Year to you as well. Great to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Return on investment is not quite what they expected, Joe. With that signing, let's just say that the return on investment is pretty bad. They're doing the right thing by the player, Joe. I could see him. My friend's a Cowboy fan, so he's like, we need another running back desperately to go with Pollard. So that would be a good match because I think there's only a few teams in the NFC that can pull it off. So, Joe, everything hinged on Rodgers, and I don't understand the Rodgers-Saffold thing, quite honestly. It's a little bizarre to me that you would sign him and never play him, and maybe they just sign him just to shut people up who are complaining that we are not doing anything. I never understood, Joe, that, we look at Cleveland and I just don't understand how we never tried to do much after Rodgers went down. We didn't do enough, Joe, obviously. And I just still puzzles me to this day that I don't know the rationale, Joe. Did we say maybe it came from Woody? Maybe Woody said, "Hey, you know what? The season's lost already. Zach Wilson ain't the guy, and our offensive line is bad. Maybe he just pulled the plug on it. Who knows?" Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we've had this discussion, and we're going to continue to have this discussion even going into the off season and throughout the off season about basically kind of what fell apart here. And my only thoughts about this, and I've gone back and forth with a lot of people, I really think that when they signed Tim Boyle, when they brought him into the building, I really thought they said to themselves, we've shored up the backup quarterback position. We've got that. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the only rationale that I can come up with. Because why else would you bring him into the building? And then, because remember, I know you remember this, Ted, this was supposed to be a year that Zach Wilson was supposed to sit back, fall back, and learn from Aaron Rodgers. That was the whole, right, that we talked about that all offseason. Even Aaron Rodgers himself came out and talked about it. And I think that when they brought Tim Boyle in, that was supposed to be the answer. And then they went into preseason and they realized, Tim isn't going to beat Zach Wilson out. Because he didn't. Every time that they played, Zach Wilson looked better than him all throughout preseason. It wasn't even close. Tim just didn't look like that. And so when they got into the season, at that point, and look, I get it. Maybe they should have grabbed another guy earlier. But again, there was a lot of names out there, a lot of things being thrown around, and nobody was really, having that discussion. But the second that Rodgers went down, I think they looked around, and maybe from their assessment, there wasn't a guy that can come in and be better than Zach Wilson at that point because you were already into the season, and it takes a minute to get, acclimated to the system. Even look when we brought Trevor Siemian in. Trevor Siemian was here for, I think, maybe a month plus, and still wasn't playing because he had to get up to speed with the system. So it is what it is there, but here we are, right?
Yeah, right. Talking about draft, Joe.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about the draft coming up soon. But I want to get your thoughts on this, too, because as we talk about that quarterback position, we haven't spoken in a minute. There's a lot of people that have brought a lot of heat to Robert Saleh and basically said we should fire him and move on from him because of how he handled, the situation, how the team has played ever since Rodgers was down. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on everybody screaming for the entire front office to be cleared out? Do you think that's something that you'd like to see as well?
Joe, I would say I would have done it a few weeks ago because it's the same pattern as last year where we started off okay and then we slid the second half of the year. And you can name a few teams that have had issues like we did, and they somehow found a way to win. Especially with Flacco. Flacco knows that. I'm sure Flacco could have stepped in. I know he would have been immobile, but maybe he would have got the ball out faster. One of our issues, Joe, one of our biggest issues, Joe, is Garrett Wilson's really doesn't have much help. There's not another capable wide receiver. Lazard is not him. So, you can lock down on Garrett, and somehow Garrett, by his pure talent, got the 1,000 yards receiving, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But we need a number 2, Joe. We need to draft. And people are talking about T. Higgins and, things like that. I don't want to sign that guy. I want to draft another young receiver, even if it's with our first rounder if we have to. We can't, Joe. We have to have another weapon. Every good team has two decent wide receivers.
No.
I mean Waddle and Waddle and what's his name, Tyreek.
And Tyreek.
You can name a bunch of. You can name a bunch of them. Cleveland has theirs, and no one really talks much about Cleveland, but that's a dangerous team too. Joe, I would have cleaned house weeks ago, Joe. I would have cleaned house weeks ago. The only thing, except for one thing, who is going to come in and replace him? So that's why they're going to stay the course one more year, and if nothing happens, it's all over again, and you have to blow it up.
Yeah, I think that there's, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question because we haven't talked in a minute. I really want to get your thoughts on that.
Thanks, Joe.
Here's the thing is, I think that I wouldn't have fired him, and here's why I wouldn't have fired him, and I don't think they were never going to fire him. I honestly believe that once Rodgers went down, they sat down and all had a talk, including with Woody, and just said, hey, this season, wherever it goes, whatever. We're all coming back next season. Because if anybody should be fired, it should be Nathaniel Hackett, and he's still here. And you could even tell, even when they asked Saleh that question about him being concerned about job security a couple of weeks ago on the podium, he said no, he wasn't really worried about it. And the reason is this. The New York Jets, with Aaron Rodgers starting on the cusp of the Super Bowl, we all know that we're a Super Bowl team. We have a championship defense. We have, the pieces to really compete here. The second we got Aaron Rodgers, we became a Super Bowl contender. And if you blow this up and you fire those guys, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is coming back here. I think either the Achilles starts to affect him a bit more, if you know what I'm saying, pay attention.
Yes, sir.
The Achilles may affect him a bit more than he thought it would, and that might actually either cause him to retire or he'll ask to be traded, because I do not think that Aaron Rodgers is here to be a bridge quarterback or a guy that is going to struggle on a 4 to 5 win team or whatever as you blow it up and figure out another coaching staff, right? So when you look at the future here with the New York Jets, they're not going to throw all of this away. They're not going to do this, especially not Woody Johnson. He is not going to throw away a Super Bowl chance. He's not going to throw away the chance to sell tickets or sell jerseys. He's not going to do that outside of us being right on the cusp. And this is something that I've talked about in the past as well. I think a lot of Jets fans are not thinking about. Aaron Rodgers wields a lot of power here. He does. When they ask him questions, and they've asked him a lot of questions, I'll get right back to you in a second. And they asked him questions about if his return was barring, the coaching staff returning. He didn't answer those questions, but he did say that he thought that they had a winning formula here. Anytime he's asked about Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, or Hackett, he always feels strongly about those guys. So unless Aaron Rodgers wants it to happen, it's not going to happen here. That's why I think they're not getting fired, because we have a Super Bowl chance, and I think unless there's a marked improvement next season, right? Where at least we're right outside the playoffs, maybe a game, or we make the playoffs, I don't think anyone's getting fired next season either. I think they're going to ride out at least the next 2 to possibly 3 seasons, if Aaron Rodgers is here 3 seasons, with Aaron Rodgers to see if we can finally get that ring that we've been chasing since the 60s. Give me your thoughts on that, Ted. I want to hear from you.
I agree, Joe, 100%. I agree. In that time, we still have to develop a quarterback or somehow have a plan to, after Rodgers' plan. But I have to say, I do have to say, though, Joe, you know, Jermaine Johnson, just the flashes that the player that he's become, it's just the draft that Joe Douglas has had and the way that Saleh and his staff develops players, defensive players especially, you know, you do have to give them a mulligan a bit. But I just don't like the fading, Joe. I don't like the team fading. They look like they're already on the golf course, you know. They're already thinking about playing, you know. I just not playing hard and all those missed tackles against Cleveland. It's just so frustrating as a fan to watch that. And, you know,
but I think
making business decisions, Joe. Making business decisions on the field, you know. It doesn't look like they're ready to put their nose in there, you know.
Listen,
Go ahead, Joe.
I think that this, I hear you. And I think that this defense is gassed too, though. And I think they know that the season's over. They struggled last season with the same thing, being on the field most of the time. The offense struggling. I think they're gassed. But here's another aspect that I think a lot of Jet fans aren't looking at. If you fire Robert Saleh and all these guys and you get rid of the staff, the guys that we love the most, your Garrett Wilsons, your Sauce Garners, you just talked Jermaine Johnson, like all these guys that we love here, the young nucleus of talent, I think those guys will walk too eventually because they're not going to want to go through a whole nother, you know, rebuild. We've seen it in the past. Look, Jamal Adams left because of that. That was one of his reasons. I mean, he was a phony, and I talked about him being a phony multiple times on this show, and nobody wanted to hear me until it happened. But, that was one of the reasons. I don't want to lose anymore, and I don't think any of these other guys want to lose anymore. And not just lose, but lose without purpose because the Jets historically, right, we went into a rebuild with Mike McCagnon, and we were still in one when Joe Douglas was trying to ramp and get things together. So, you know, I don't think any of those guys stay either, and that's why, again, I think the decision is to keep Robert Saleh. And again, I think that Robert Saleh, I think he's a good coach. He has faults like every other coach. But there are things I want to see him clean up. But, again, I think if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this is a completely different season. This is a completely different discussion. And the offense, I think, looks completely different. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take 100%. On it. So as we continue to talk about, you know, this team and everything that's going on here, when you look at the offense, I want to get your thoughts on this. What building block players do you think the Jets have? How many of them do you think the Jets currently have on this offensive side of the ball where you look at it and say, hey, this is a kid or this is a guy, that is a foundational player that we can move forward in the future with?
I'd say you have 2 tight ends that are potentially, you know, I'm going to say Pro Bowlers, but Ruckert and definitely Conklin. Conklin's a very underrated player. You know, he's a solid player. And you have Garrett and Brees. And other than that, you know, ABT, I don't know. You can't rely on him. You know, I'm not sure if he can stay healthy enough. I think he might be able to. And it's interesting. I haven't talked to you in a while, Joe, but I wanted actually your opinion on Mekhi because I know you were a Mekhi guy. But, I mean, do we sign him as a back, you know, as a depth signing? Like, because I don't think anyone's going to want him back. But maybe if he's healthy, he could be a backup. Or fringe starter.
No, listen.
For a while.
He's a very interesting case. And again, I stand by my take.
Yeah.
I don't run. I don't delete my tweets. For those of y'all that do, all right. Listen,
Savages will find you.
I was and still am, you know, a big fan of Mekhi Becton. Did he have the season so far that I was hoping? No. Early in the season, he looked really good. He was phenomenal. Even Aaron Rodgers talked about how great that he looked. But these last 3-4 games, there's been a lot of penalties. He's given up sacks. His future with the New York Jets has a big question mark about it. I could see them bringing him back. I could see them doing that because, again, we're in win-now mode. and to move on from him,
Right.
that creates another hole along the offensive line, right? Now you're
Right.
looking for a left tackle, a right tackle, and then possibly, I know people want to get rid of Laken Tomlinson like no tomorrow, so then you're definitely looking for a left guard. That's three, out of the 5 position in your offensive line there. Then on top of that, those guys you bring in, which more likely will be rookies, they got to be Super Bowl ready because that's the expectation once Aaron Rodgers returns healthy next season. That means those rookies are going to have to be ready for the Eagles front. They're going to have to be ready for the Chiefs front. Jones and those boys, they don't play no games. They're going to have to be ready for the Bosa's. They're going to have to be ready for, Von Miller, the Bills. They're going to have to be ready for those guys off the bat to perform at a high level. And I think that's a lot to ask of rookies immediately. So I could see us bringing him back for maybe 1 to 2 year deal, a solid signing for him to see if he can, really continue to take that step forward, if he can be more consistent. Because he's, even this year, he showed flashes, again, early in the season, very early. That Eagles game, he was phenomenal. He was bullying guys. Up into these last 3 to 4 games, he looked really good. So I could see them bringing him back, giving him a 1 or 2 year deal, maybe a 3 year deal, all right? Drafting some guys behind him, but really addressing that right side, addressing that left guard position, and then moving forward that way. So that's what I think could be done and should be done with Mekhi Becton if everything plays out to need be. Because, again, that free agency route is going to be really tough because you and I both know, man, you're going to pay tackles out the nose if you're trying to get them in free agency. You're going to overpay for guys. But give me your thoughts on that, man.
Oh yeah, 100%, Joe. Like I would think about Mekhi as a fringe starter, maybe give him 2 years, and Rodgers obviously likes him, so that's another reason. He's made it a point to call him out a few times in a positive way. And I wonder if the Bakhtiari thing is for real. I don't know if he's healthy or maybe Rodgers has some influence, recruiting power that. On certain players that he knows that he can say, hey, we're going to make a run here. Give me 2 years if you want to give it. Look at our defense. we need some semblance of an offense, and we're gonna come out of the gates quick. Joe. So hey, Joe, let me ask you a quick question. What do you think about Bryce Huff? You think you want to extend him? I hear a lot of rumblings about people wanting to trade him for a second rounder and. Maybe the Will McDonald thing was that maybe the Will McDonald draft pick was kind of a hedge against him, not signing him or whatever, just to be safe.
Yeah. So this is a great question, and after this, I'll ask you one more question about the upcoming game against the Patriots.
Sure.
For you, Jeremy, we'll be coming to you next. Here's my thing with Huff. I think the New York Jets should re-sign him. I think and there's a lot of things that a lot of people jump on Joe Douglas for. And I know it's a two-way street, but I would have loved to see Huff get re-signed during this season because he is grading out as one of the top pass rushers in the league. Like his pressures, his get-off times have been unbelievable. And I think you don't let that type of talent walk out the door at all, especially at such a position of impact. If you want to chase a Super Bowl like we're talking about, it goes through Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, the Bills, like all these guys that have phenomenal quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts. If you cannot chase those guys and get those guys down, it's a wrap. You look at a lot of these top teams that are constantly competing, they're getting to the quarterback, they're getting sacks. Last year, I think the Eagles led the NFL in sacks. I think they had like 70 sacks, and then the Chiefs were right behind them. Those two teams were in the Super Bowl. There's no, it's not a coincidence that happened. So with him in the underfold with Jermaine Johnson and Quentin Williams and Will McDonald continuing to emerge, and I think Will McDonald is going to be phenomenal for us next season. I think that really allows us to continue to compete and get at these upper echelon teams. I understand Jets fans are already talking about trading people. I don't think we should. I'm not interested in getting a second rounder for him. I want him to stay here and flourish. There's a reason why top pass rushers don't hit free agency like that. San Francisco is never going to let go of Bosa unless he falls off of a cliff. They're never going to do that. The Chargers, they're never going to let go of the other Bosa. Like, that doesn't happen. If you look at the Bills retooled and brought in Von Miller. They already had pass rushers. They said, look, we got to go get some more. because we got to get more pressure on that guy in Kansas City or these other guys that's running around out here. So why are we giving away pass rushers, especially since the New York Jets have struggled with pass rush, in recent history? We used to struggle to get to the quarterback, did for years. Even when Rex was here, and he was a phenomenal defensive coordinator, a lot of his way to get to quarterbacks was sending blitzes, a lot of exotic blitzes. We haven't had a pure pass rusher, really, since, like, John Abraham. That was years ago.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
I agree.
So I wouldn't have did that. But before I let you go, Ted, because, I love going back and forth with you, but I got callers and I got to get going.
Yes, sir.
You got Jets-Patriots coming up, man. 15-game winning streak for the Patriots. They've cooked us.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, it's been brutal, okay? But they're weak. Patriots, there's a lot of Patriots fans that want to get rid of Belichick, talking about firing him. I'm all for that. Give me your thoughts on this upcoming game against him, and do you think the Jets will finally be able to snap this streak? Give me your final score prediction as well.
I have mixed feelings about that game, Joe, because I still want a higher draft pick. But, I would hate to see us win like 13-12 or some stupid score like that, because the over-under is 30, right, or 31. Yeah. It's some ridiculously low number. It could be just a field goal fest. I have mixed feelings, Joe. I'd hate to win ugly. I'd hate to lose, obviously. But I guess if we could somehow get the guys from, thinking about golfing somewhere where it's warmer and get them to play, I think we can pull off, 16-13, something really low scoring. Jets. Obviously.
So you think okay, 16-13 Jets, that's what he's thinking. All right. Ted, this is a phenomenal call from you. I got other callers. I got to get to them. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? I know you got to make your money. Do your thing. Okay? Do your thing. But I want to hear from you more often. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Washington in the national championship game. I love them the whole season. And there's a guy named Romy Adunze. That's the kind of guy I want for the Jets. Have a good one, Joe.
Okay.
He's a wide receiver.
You have a good one, Ted. All right, you have a good one. Listen, we're going to be talking about that. That's Ted, man. We always have a good time speaking with him. Salute to all the savages in the chat. I see y'all, all right? I see y'all in the building. Jeremy will be coming to you in a second. 973 after him. New callers as well. Hold on. We're getting to everybody trust, okay? I see y'all in the building. Salute. Lil Balloon, I see you. Okay. Hyro, I see you in the building as well. Okay. Salute to everybody, man. Going back and forth. Dakota says, Fashanu. Oh, that tackle. I see. Okay. Fashanu, I see you in the building. He wants a tackle. Dakota says, Fashanu, a receiver, Jaden Daniels, or Michael Phoenix Jr. He wants tackle. He wants a receiver, and he wants some quarterbacks to get into the building. All right. Let's go. Hawkeye salutes. Good to see you in there as well. He says, can't believe they would punt on the season with this defense. Plus, how good did we all feel after the Week 1 win? Yeah. That win after Aaron Rodgers went down, man. After Aaron Rodgers went down, Zach was able to come in and hold a fort just enough. We got a big special teams return by Gibson. We got that W Week 1, even with Aaron Rodgers going down. But as the season continued to play on and play out, things just spiraled, man. We're going to get back to the lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. Next, we're going to Jeremy. Jeremy, I'm coming directly to you. 609, I'll see you. I'll come to you in a second. Jeremy, we're coming directly to you, though, first, man. For those of you that do not know, this man, Jeremy, he's a savage. Jeremy, boy, oh boy, we haven't heard from you in a little bit, and I'm excited to talk to you about what we got going on here. Listen, man, we got so many things moving and shaking around here. First, I want to start off with the fact that the New York Jets released Dalvin Cook, Roger Saffold. Give me your thoughts, man. A lot of people had high hopes for Cook. Things just didn't work out. I know he complained about his usage, but with Breece Hall rolling the way he was, I don't know how he thought that he was going to get some run over him. And then again, you got Saffold, who's a guy that we released off the practice squad, and he never really did anything here, which is crazy because our offensive line suffered so many injuries. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, with Dalvin Cook, I think people need to remember or look at it a little differently. We didn't get Dalvin Cook because we needed a running back. We got Dalvin Cook as an insurance policy. So I know when people said, oh, well, that failed, it was a bad move. Well, Hall didn't get hurt. Breece Hall didn't get hurt. He was good, strong in the beginning, right outside the gate. So it's just an insurance policy we didn't end up needing. Can you imagine if we didn't sign Cook and Breece Hall would have went down in the first game, second game because of the ACL or something like that, and we didn't get Cook?
Mm-hmm.
You'd never hear the end of it. Joe Douglas fire him, like, how could he not have signed Cook and gotten us, so I mean, people got to just understand. The reason why Cook didn't have a role was because his number one role was he was a veteran running back that's had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He was an insurance policy on a year where we didn't want anything to screw it up. We didn't know Rodgers was going to go down, right? We just wanted to make sure that our offense was ready and that Rodgers was going to have a number one running back. And with a guy, with a young player coming off an ACL, Dalvin Cook assured us that if Hall wasn't ready to go, we'd still have the running back. And I think that's what that was. And, yeah, it would have been better if he played better. I don't like the usage of him in the beginning. Once Hall was good and Cook clearly wasn't ready the first few weeks of the season, it was very clear that he wasn't ready, and they even acknowledged it, that he's still getting his speed back. It made no sense because why did you have Carter at that time? Why did you draft a running back at that time? Why not have Izzy? So it made no sense to me that they were still using him even though they acknowledged he wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I know Cook was brought in because we were all concerned about Breece Hall and his utilization. I did shows throughout that whole time, and I remember there was a lot of people, including myself, that were thinking that Hall probably wouldn't have seen the field until late November, early December, because we were all trying to figure out where he was going to be coming back from that ACL. But the second you saw Breece Hall on the field for that practice in the offseason, when he was running and he was on the field on the 11-on-11 and took off, and Robert Saleh says it looks like Breece Hall looks like, the old Breece Hall. Dalvin Cook and his usage kind of went down. Like you said as well, there was a lot of issues with Dalvin, especially the way that he was running. At first, Dalvin Cook was very, very slow. He was running like he was in molasses, and then a lot of people don't remember some of the fumbles that he had as well that got him pulled. I was also confused by the usage or the lack of utilization of Michael Carter within the offense as well, but we ended up seeing him get dealt to Arizona. And then, again, people were screaming for Izzy, which we haven't really seen consistently on the field until, more recently. So it just didn't work out here for Dalvin. It is what it is. Saffold, again, I'm confused. Him being brought in, he wasn't utilized either. But as the Jets continue to move forward, they got to shore up some issues along this offensive line and along this roster as well, because we need another weapon as we go into the offseason. Now, as we talk about this season, Jeremy, because I haven't talked to you in a little bit either, are you one of the fans that want to see Robert Saleh get fired?
I mean, I'm not happy with the job he's doing. I'm not happy with the job he's doing. I'm very concerned. I have a lot of concerns about him. But I do not want to make the change right now. We have a limited window with Aaron Rodgers. And they had a plan, and everything was great until he went down, right? I mean, and then the offensive line got decimated again. But to bring in a new coach now and to take the chance, is he going to click with Aaron Rodgers? How is the locker room going to react? We've got to commit. We've got a culture. We've got a team. We've got, a certain way of doing things. We've seen them play well. We've seen them play bad. I think that they made it very clear they wanted to run it back, and I think they got to stick through with their plan. I think that they can't give in to the pressure of the fans. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that Robert Saleh, he has some faults that I don't like. Mostly are built around his personnel decisions. I really don't like his personnel decisions. I think they favor veterans a little bit too much and restrict us from putting our best foot forward sometimes. But I don't think changing the entire culture and bringing in a new coach right now at this point is the right way to go because of the limited window we have. We have 1 to 2 years, most likely, and I think we just got to go for it. We got to go for what we have, and Robert Saleh does give us a championship-level defense. There's no question in my mind about that. These guys' defense is set. They're ready to go. We just have to get Rodgers back on the field more than just adding another tackle. I mean, when we talk about adding players to the offensive line, the number one priority is we need to keep them healthy. I mean, like even if you don't get the best offensive lineman, not every team in the league has stars in every offensive line position. The key thing that kills us is consistency. We can't get one offensive line, 5 guys on the field for more than 3 games straight or more than 2 games straight.
That's a fact.
That's killing.
That's a fact.
Killing us.
Yep.
You could have not that I want this, but you could have Carter Warren as your right tackle because he's been serviceable. He might not be a star. He might not be ideal for what we want, but if he played every game, that's an improvement just to have consistency. Because every offensive line we put out there before somebody got hurt again would get better eventually. And then somebody else went down and it would screw the whole thing up. So to me, it's about health first. Of course, I want to add a tackle. I want to draft one. And, like everybody else, I want to see them bring in more talent on the offensive line. But still, going into the year, my priority is, man, can we just have a year where they all don't get hurt?
Yeah. No, listen, you're spot on there, Jeremy. And even going back to Robert Saleh, like you said, there's some things I think that he needs to improve on as well. You talk about the personnel decisions. That's definitely something that he can get better at. That's kind of one of my gripes with him as well. But I think that if Aaron Rodgers comes back healthy next season, I think a lot of the things that we have concerns about or worried about will kind of fade away because I think great quarterback play, especially on the level of Aaron Rodgers, kind of hides some things, especially on the offensive side of the ball, right? Because we know that Nathaniel Hackett ain't so good. He ain't so good. His game plan sometimes, especially him trying to tailor it for different, especially for Zach Wilson's skill set, has not worked out often. The game plans haven't been the best. But with Aaron Rodgers on the field, it's his offense. He can, check in and out of things. And I think that would shore up a lot of the issues that we have offensively. Protection still needs to be addressed this offseason as well, like you talked about. I think we'll definitely hit the draft for those things, but a lot of the other problems will kind of suffice and go away. I think if you give Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers on that side of the ball. Now, here's my question for you, Jeremy, because you brought up a great point about this offense needing to get better. Who do you think are the building block players on this offense currently? What are guys that you look at and you go, okay, this is a guy that I'm excited to move forward into the future with on this roster?
Well, I mean, just starting with the O-line, you just got to Joe Tippmann. Love Joe Tippmann. Love his versatility. Love the fact that he can move to either guard position. Love that he's a center. Gives us that flexibility in the draft. Hey, if the best interior offensive lineman in the draft in the 3rd round is a center, because sometimes really good centers are available in the 3rd round just based on the position. The fact that we could say, hey, there's no guards we trust in the draft, let's take that really talented center. I think there's a guy named Powers, for example. Here's this guy sitting there in the 3rd round that we believe we can plug and play and start. We could put him in there and move Tippmann over and solve the guard problem and still have a solid center. We could bring back McGovern, who was actually, he's a serviceable average center. Bring him back for $1 to $2 million, super cheap, and know that we have this ability to move Tippmann over if we don't get if we're short in the guard position, in case we have to move AVT over to tackle, which I don't want to do, but if we had to, it's nice to have a guy like Tippmann. I think he's really the core guy for that. Obviously, AVT healthy is a guy you build around, right? I mean, I want to answer AVT as the foundation more than anything, but with 2 years in a row, the only positive I could take out of it is they were completely two different injuries. So, which means it could just feel bad luck.
Yeah, listen, and I hear you. I want to play devil's advocate here. Everyone knows I love ATV, but I want to look at the other side of the argument. You have to wonder going forward with him, can he be a foundational guy? Because, again, he's had 2 big injuries that have cost him quite a bit of time during these last 2 seasons, and he's been on IR. So can you depend on him going forward? That's a big question. Part of being a foundational player is actually playing. You see he's got the talent. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. He's unbelievable when he's on the field. But these last 2 years, when is he on the field? Can you really count on him as a foundational player? I mean, go ahead. Continue, Jeremy. Give me your thoughts, man.
He's going to have to earn it this year. I mean, it's not that I blame him, but I mean, it just has to happen this year. He has to play the whole year. If he comes in here and he plays 17 games and he doesn't have any issues with any injuries, then we could start thinking of him in that way again. I mean, and just assume, okay, he played 17 games. Now maybe he's just like any other guy. He has just as much a chance of staying healthy as anyone else. So if not, he gets again, then it looks like he's going to be one of those guys, and he's not going to be that guy. We just get the best we can out of him, and that's just the way it's going to be. One thing I do want to say about Becton is think that if he's cheap because nobody wants him because of the stats and everything in the year, last 4 games, if we can get him back at a reasonable price, and when I say reasonable, I mean a few million. Like I'm not talking, we're not going to invest any real money in him. Maybe he's going to, a 1-year prove it kind of deal. I think that people have to understand 2 things. One is he was actually okay until the high ankle sprain.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When he had the ankle sprain, missed the game. He came back. He was never the same. So the chance that he's been playing not at 100%.
Yeah.
Okay? It's clear that he hasn't lost his strength. He's lost his mobility. That is something that you could get back. It might be that he's going to have an amazing offseason again. He's going to have to slim down again. But if he gets trainers and he works on his speed, his lateral movement, if he can get that back, I don't see him as a left tackle anymore, obviously. I mean, he'd really have to bang at camp for that to happen. But I could see him being a swing at worst. Like he comes back, he's on the cheap, he's a swing tackle, could play both positions for us, get healthy, maybe you'll show glimpses of what he was before that ankle injury. Because that's really when it happened. The other thing is his best case scenario is he could be a really solid right tackle because typically you're not going up against their fastest defensive edge. And the right tackle usually tends to be a really good run blocking kind of player, and that's what Becton is. He's a mauler. And you put him over there with AVT, you could have with Tippmann at center. Now you're talking about the right side being a real powerhouse for the running game. So I just want to say, I'm like you. I love Becton. I've been a really big supporter of Becton. He's my guy that I've always backed, and and I'm not trying to make excuses. Say, it's his ankle, but I'm just stating facts. He was not nearly as bad before that ankle injury as he was after it.
No, he wasn't. No, you're speaking facts. I don't know. I think if the Jets re-sign him, I think it will be more along the lines of him probably retaining that starting left tackle position. Because I think with the draft, what it does is it allows them to then focus on other positions, right? It then allows you to focus on that right tackle position. Because let me tell you, and you and I both know, Jeremy, that Super Bowl or bust is coming next season where Aaron Rodgers is healthy, and there are going to be Jets fans screaming that. And so to get there, especially again, Aaron Rodgers has talked about it himself, you got to have the pieces in place to protect him properly, and you better be prepared to, be competing against those top guys. And that high ankle sprain, like you talked about, and that happened a couple of games ago, like we said, he can come back from that. High ankle sprains linger. But if you get off of them, you elevate, you ice, you do all this other stuff, and especially with a lot of the treatments that they have, I think he can come back and be a lot better than we saw these last 4 games. So, Jeremy, it's been phenomenal speaking with you, man. My final question before I let you go. Jets, Patriots, we got this game coming up. Give me your thoughts on it, man. Patriots have beat the Jets 15 straight times. Do you think that this will be a Jets W here for us to snap that streak?
It definitely could be. I mean, you got Bailey Zapp playing for them. They're not a good football team right now. They've been playing a little bit better as of late. The thing about the Jets is when you have the defense that we have, if we're playing to win, if we're using everybody, if we're using our starters, we're always a threat to win. Because any team, when you have a team that's capable of putting up a defensive game, that's capable of stopping the other team from scoring any touchdowns. When you have that ability because of your defense, and you have a guy like Breece Hall who at any moment could break one, you always have a real chance to beat any team, when you have that combination. So, Yeah, I mean, we could win that game, and we should. I mean, again, I don't know how much I don't know how much their heart is into it. I mean, they're already releasing players. Like, I don't know if it's going to be more like this. Might end up being a game where you see a different kind of usage of the players because they're thinking about looking at guys for next year. Like, can Jeremy Ruckert carry even more of a load? Let's look at Izzy. You might see Izzy get 20 carries. So we might literally have a game that looks almost like a preseason game by the second half more than an NFL regular season. So it's complicated because I don't know what New England's going to do, and I don't know what the Jets are going to do. I don't know if they I don't know what approaches the coaches are going to take in a game like this that doesn't really have any meaning other than the rivalry and the win streak.
Yeah, give me your final score prediction, man. How do you think it ends up?
See, like a 17-13 Jets win.
Okay. 17-13 Jets. That's what Jerry. Jeremy, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. I got to slide off. I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. All right. Oh, go ahead and tell everybody your YouTube stuff as well and what you do over there on your channel. For those of you that don't know, Jeremy's on YouTube and does phenomenal, discussions surrounding the Jets.
Oh, thanks. The name of the channel is Jets Chaos. We do a live show every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. for right now. And, I put out some videos, too, once in a while. And, we have a lot of fun. So, yeah, anybody, if you haven't checked it out, just give it a check out, Jets Chaos.
Yes. Listen, Jeremy, thank you for coming on. You have yourself a good night, all right?
Thanks, brother. Take care.
All right, same to you. Listen, Happy New Year's to everybody. We're going to keep getting to these lines again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in, and when you call in, be patient. The lines are hot. We're going to get to everybody, though, okay? New callers, hold on. I'm coming to you. Don't trip, okay? Please give the stream a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. If you want to give to the channel, the super chat's there. Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. Anything you give is greatly appreciated. Next, we're going to Mike. Mike, we're coming directly to you. 973, we'll get to you. And then Val, I see you. We're coming to Val, okay? All right. For those of you that do not know, Mike, he's a savage. We got Mike from Tom's River in the building. Mike, salutes. Man, Dalvin Cook has been released along with Roger Saffold. What are your thoughts on that, man?
You mean Dalvin Cook?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about Dalvin Cook and Roger Saffold being released?
Dalvin's he's done. He was done. You can tell that from the preseason. You know, he was slow. He was rusty. He was slow. I mean, it was an insurance plan. You know, thank God. You know, but I would like to see Izzy a lot more. They should have did Carter a lot more. But you know, it is what it is. Daniel Hackett. He cannot.
Give me your thoughts.
He can't do play calling for his players' strengths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Every game, the first play of the game is run up the middle. Run up the middle. It's so predictable. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like there's no creativity.
Yeah, that's been a big issue this entire season. Was a lot of people were complaining about that there was no motion at one point. A lot of the game plans, especially with Zach Wilson and his skill set, a lot of people were concerned about why he wasn't doing things to tailor the offense more to Zach Wilson, not really allowing Zach Wilson to go out there and be Zach Wilson. A lot of that stuff we talked about. And I'm hoping to see it be better, especially this upcoming season, because I don't think that Robert Saleh, him, or anyone, I don't think anybody's getting fired. I know there's a lot of Jets fans that are screaming for Joe Douglas to be gone as well. You know, the way the season just kind of fell off of a cliff after, Aaron Rodgers went down. But I don't think any of those guys are going to be fired, and they're going to be here this next coming season. We've already got a vote of confidence from Woody Johnson. They come out and talk about it. So they're going to be here. But you want to see marked improvement from Nathaniel Hackett, especially this next season. And that brings me to my next thought for you, because you talked about Saleh as well. What is one area that you want to see him improve in to become a better head coach?
Ooh, I would say personnel, time management.
Yes. I've been waiting for somebody to talk about not only just the personnel, but the time management. Time management has been an issue at certain times. That's a good take there. Damn good take there, Mike.
It's not hard to you play football for how long, it's not hard to manage the clock, Come on, you're head coach, you should be able to like, all right, there's a minute left and you're driving down the field, you made a big drop, you made a big play, which Jets never do, but if you happen to make one, call a timeout.
Yeah, I think we missed out on some points this year. I think before the half, because we couldn't get everything lined up. There were some clock management issues. Yeah, we've seen that in the past. So that's something he can
12
do.
guys on the field.
12 guys, and we've seen that too. So there's some things that he can clean up, to get a bit better. And that was a great take there. Now, as we continue to talk about this team, Mike, when you look at this Jets offense, right, as many issues that we had, what do you think is the strength? What position group do you think at this point is the strength of the Jets offense?
Garrett Wilson.
The wide receiver position, you think that's the strength of the Jets offense?
Well, Garrett Wilson's number one wide receiver. And then you got two tight ends, Rucker and Cromwell. AVT, if he can stay healthy, that's a big question. Breece Hall, and at least we know Breece Hall is so awesome as a backfield now. He's so deadly as a backfield. He could break loose at any time now.
At any time, yeah.
I like Izzy, and Gibson too. I like Gibson too. He's a good slot receiver.
Well, yeah, when I look at it, because, when you look at the position groups of this offense, I think the running back position, like you said as well, you brought up Breece Hall, that could be considered the strength. You look at the wide receiver position could obviously be up there as well. We know Allen Lazard definitely, hasn't.
Horrible.
He's been rough. It's been rough with him. And like Saleh said, he's got a year and a half left. All right, that's what he's got. He's got a year and a half left. Okay.
I think he has free training at the training camp. That's it. I think he moved back up.
Yeah, he's got to clean it up. But I think the running back position you can consider a strength, especially that wide receiver position, because Garrett Wilson's been phenomenal. Gibson has really put some things together. We've seen some strong things from Brownlee, and that tight end position, like you brought up as well, could be a strength as well. You look at Conklin, you look at Jeremy Ruckert; they've been phenomenal. A lot of people not talking about C.J. Uzomah. C.J. Uzomah has, he's got to clean some things up too. I wouldn't be surprised if, the Jets would look to move on from him as well at some point. So, Michael, before I let you go, this has been a phenomenal
think they might move on with it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We got Jets Patriots coming up. Patriots will beat the Jets 15 games straight, man. Give me your thoughts on this upcoming game and your final score prediction.
I hope the Jets lose, to tell you the truth.
Oh, wow.
I want to hire a draft pick. Oh. They should have lost that game to the Redskins, and then we would have had a top 5 pick, and then we could have had Marvin Harrison Jr., and that would have been golden. That would have been golden.
Okay.
With him and Garrett, right now we're at number 8, I think it is. All right, if we're at number 8, take the kid from Notre Dame, the left tackle from Notre Dame, take him. And then in free agency, we got to spend all our money on offense. We got to build a whole offensive lineup, and take Higgins. Take Higgins as number 2 wide receiver.
I don't know. I don't know how much money we're gonna have because we definitely need to make sure that stuff is resigned. We need to make sure that Huff is resigned.
I don't
think other stuff too.
I don't think we can sign him. I think we're gonna cut. We've got Zach. That'll lose $10 million. Lawson, that's $11 million. Cut Lazard, that would be another $11 million.
You can't cut him without paying him like big money. We just signed him. I mean, you cut him, you're going to be paying out of your nose. So I don't think we're going to release him. That's why Saleh said on the podium he's got a year and a half left. That's when that option comes. Yeah, we can move on from him without getting dirty.
The last Jet episode I was listening to, they were saying that like with the cuts and everything, they can make like $60 million up in the cap. And you got to remember, we got Aaron Rodgers after free agency, so he couldn't bring like people over. You know what I'm saying? So let's see.
That's not true. Because Alan Lazard came here because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was talking to people behind the scenes.
Yeah, but that was
him and Alan Lazard had discussions.
Yeah, but that was after free agency though, because nobody wanted to come to the Jets before Aaron Rodgers. Was that?
No, we signed Lazard during free agency. Guys were coming here because they knew Aaron Rodgers was going to be a Jet. He talked to him. Alan Lazard was still talking to him throughout all of free agency though. So
yeah, some of his best friends. Yeah. Not like the rest of the league, though, you know. They didn't know what was going to happen.
So, listen, Mike, it's been phenomenal speaking to you. I got to slide off. I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? We're going to keep things moving again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Next, we're going to 973. 973, we're coming directly to you, all right? Listen, 973, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Look, Dalvin Cook released along with Roger Saffold. Give me your thoughts about these two guys being released, man.
Oh, like what a shock. I mean, come on. I mean, Cook didn't do really anything with the Jets, so it was overdue. I'm not surprised at all, especially the way the season has been going. You know, one domino falling after another. And this is just only a piece, of course.
Yeah. Listen, there's been a lot of talk, man. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, man. You know, with Dalvin Cook being moved on from, I mean, to me, like you said, it is what it is. Breece Hall came back and has been on fire for us, been a big playmaker. And Izzy really has shown some ability, especially as we continue to give him the ball throughout the rest of the season. He's impressed me quite a bit this season. So moving on from Dalvin Cook, a guy that was really slow, not moving how he should be moving, is fine with me. He can go find, another team to compete with and go do his thing. I wish him nothing but the best. But as we continue to look at this Jets offense and what's going on here, what are some players that you look at you think could be building blocks for the Jets going forward on the offense?
I know, our offense this season was kind of weak, so they need a complete overhaul. I'll tell you, it was the back-breaking point, though, when we had Tim
a complete overhaul?
Yeah.
You think we got to scrap everybody?
Pretty much. At least you got rid of Tim Boyle.
What about guys like Garrett Wilson, guys like Breece Hall? I mean, you got ATV, you got Joe Tippmann.
Wilson Hall, I can take. Garrett Wilson, yes. I might still sell him Zach Wilson. But
no, I'm talking about Garrett Wilson. I'm definitely. But what about guys like Joe Tippmann? Joe Tippmann, I think, is showing flashes and been a really solid there at center. ATV, you could consider him a guy that you'd be excited about moving forward with. I don't think we have to overhaul everything. You might have to overhaul part of the offensive line, but I don't think we have to overhaul the entire offense. I mean, look at Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, they've done some real big things for us this season.
Yes, and so is Hall too. So if there's anybody more, if there's any player I have confidence in, I think Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. I mean, they were one of the brief shine moments this team had all season when we expected a lot better.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we were also expecting Aaron Rodgers to play.
That's what I'm saying. If Rodgers wasn't hurt, I think.
Man.
I'm not going to
expect Aaron Rodgers, but that didn't go so well,
Right.
Go ahead.
But the thing is, I don't think we would have, been a guaranteed Super Bowl even if Rodgers wasn't hurt. I mean, I think we have a very respectable season, and they may make it to the divisional final. But to say that he was going to bring us a Super Bowl, I think that was a bit overhyped. So I think maybe we expect a little bit too much, even with him coming. But the result would have been a lot better than the train wreck of a season we had now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were going to Zach Wilson to carry us through? No. That was a mistake.
I mean, me personally. Me personally, I think the New York Jets could have been in talks for, to be a Super Bowl contender, and I think we would have had a chance to win a Super Bowl this season, especially when you look at how our defense has looked. Our defense, especially early on into the season, looked unbelievable. And I mean, this recent game against Cleveland, it was rough, but those performances were few and far in between. This Jets defense has been dominant, especially, again, with how much time they're on the field. They're on the field all game, every game, and they're still able to shut things down. So if Aaron Rodgers was on this team and he performed, and he's just the Aaron Rodgers that we need him to be, I think the New York Jets would be in Super Bowl, discussions for sure. So before I let you go, my friend, give me your thoughts about this Jets upcoming game against the Patriots. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think it ends up?
I think we're finally gonna get a break because the Patriots aren't the same Patriots that they once were when they had DB12. I mean, they're taking a nosedive. I mean, now they want Belichick's head on a platter, I think. So I think the Jets have a very good chance to win this game when this nightmarish streak of beating the team I refer to as them will be over.
Okay. Give me your final score.
17-14.
17-14 Jets?
Yes, I'm not expecting a high offensive explosion.
All right, 17. I want to thank him for calling in. Gave his take, 17-14 Jets. That's what's up. We're going to keep it moving again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Next! We're going to Val, man. We're going to Val. For those of you that do not know, Val gets on the line, and the shenanigans begin, okay? For those of you that do not know Val, he's a savage. Val, salutes. Happy New Year's to you, and again, Happy New Year's to everyone else as well listening. Here we are at the end of a rough season yet again, right? We're all tired, and we get the news today that the New York Jets have released Dalvin Cook and Roger Saffold. Give me your thoughts about these two guys being released, man.
Well, listen, man, Happy New Year's to you. What a 2024 for Dalvin Cook getting released the first day of, the second day of 2024. Hopefully, he goes to a team that is contending and not punting on the season. So, yeah, man, I just feel like, it was definitely time. I heard a lot of the callers as well, too. They definitely gave some good insight. Like, basically, it was an insurance policy just in case Breece Hall wasn't ready. And Breece Hall sure told everybody and showed everybody he was definitely ready to go. So, it was just unfortunate that the play calling for him wasn't top tier, because we don't have a really good offensive coordinator. So, it kind of sucked that, how everything went. But other than that, man, I'm not really too mad at the decision of releasing him. Hopefully he could, go to a team that is contending and contribute to what they're trying to do, whatever organization it is.
Mm. Yeah, he's going to go on and definitely pick a team where he feels like he can get that ring at, and I respect it, but, his time here with the Jets, I think he had, 217 yards or something like that, or 214, total. He made 6.7 here, so it is what it is. Moving forward, like you said, Breece Hall came back and just looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal, so it is what it is there. But as we continue to move forward, man, there's a lot of people looking at the Jets offense and going, I mean, who exactly can we move forward with? What are the building block guys here? Who are guys that you identify, Val, that you look at and you say to yourself, these are some foundational players that we have that excite me as we continue to move into the future?
Absolutely. You got Garrett Wilson, worked with 3 or 4 different quarterbacks. So, and he got his 1,000 yards and stuff. So salute to him. Breece Hall, he's looking like he's ready. Soon as we get hopefully we get an offensive line next season and stuff. So we'll be ready to go. And Joe Tippmann as well too. As much as a lot of people don't talk about him, he's definitely held up a lot as well too. And I totally agree with some of the people were saying that bring back Conor McGregor. He did get injured, but he's kind of solid as well too. Probably not.
He's
probably into that.
Listen, Conor McGregor, Conor McGovern, Conor McGregor, UFC at this point. Conor McGovern. Listen. He was cheeks at center. Joe Tippmann was over there at guard. He was all right. I think Tippmann coming back, next season should definitely be the Jets starting center. If they did bring back McGovern in a backup role, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But, bringing him back, I think, to be the starting center and then, keeping, Tippmann over there at guard if need be, I don't think we should do that. I think we should address guard. Well, I don't think we need to address right guard next season because that should be ATV. I'm one of those guys, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, Val. I'm one of those guys, look, stop moving this guy all around at right tackle, left tackle. Just put ATV back at right guard and let it be. Do you agree with me, or do you think we should kick him out there to right tackle? Again,
listen. Yeah, outro is put ABT anywhere, and he will produce. So they definitely been using that slogan for this team and stuff. So I do say that. He might be quarterback as well too. But hey, I definitely feel he got drafted as a guard. Could we at least see him at guard? So I definitely agree with you on that. But he's definitely been saving us, for the meantime before getting injured. So I definitely feel where you're coming with that.
Yeah. I'd like to see ABTV back at guard. Now, as we continue to go forward, we talked about some of the guys that we've highlighted, guys that you feel have been looking really good. A lot of people, again, like yourself as well, have had questions about Robert Saleh and him going forward. I know some people want to fire him. I'm going to get your thoughts on that as well. But what is one area, since he is coming back next season, what is one area that you think Saleh must improve in for him to be a better head coach next season?
Somebody definitely did say a good point, which was the time possession. But I will say utilizing your talent.
Time management. Time management?
Time management, yes. Time management or utilizing your talent. Utilizing your talent and be more of a head coach, man. Take some accountability. Not on his part. Well, definitely on his part, but, definitely address, the team. When some stuff is not going right, don't just stand there like, Todd Bowles. Go and dress the team. I want him to, team hyped up, get them prepared and stuff like that. I want him to do a little bit more when it comes to that. And, of course, I would say, just try to do better, But I definitely want to see that. And in terms of what was the other question?
Should he be fired? I know we've had this discussion before about moving on from him.
Oh, yeah. Listen, if it was up to me, he would have definitely been fired for me. And as well, too. But, again, that's not going to happen. No, matter of fact, I wouldn't fire him. I would demote him to defensive coordinator. I feel like he's a better defensive coordinator.
Do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I wish I
you can't do that. So you want to fire him. You want to fire him.
Yeah, I would
fire him.
I definitely Yeah, because he hasn't lived up to the to CEO head coach and stuff. Everything has been going down except for the defense. His defense is really good. Like it's definitely I will say Todd Bowles. Even though Todd Bowles, he's doing his thing on the Buccaneers. They're fighting to get into the playoffs. I will say the defense definitely improved though. So I will say but it's just the offense that's really been very, very bad. Like we're on Adam Gase type of the offense. So that's not good. You gotta show some favoritism to both sides of the coin.
Here's the thing, and first off, I want to go back to what you spoke about the what Robert Saleh, an area that he can improve in. And I haven't heard from anyone tonight talk about this. The biggest area that Robert Saleh could improve in, you talk about time management and personnel utilization, I get that. But I'd like to see him work in the area of the issues with penalties. I think he's got to find some way to clean that up next season. It's egregious. Because when you watch, we're literally handing teams first downs. We're extending their drives. We're giving them points often because our team plays so undisciplined. And that's why I know it's penalties. Maybe it's just working on an area of discipline, but that's a very wide kind of concept or so, a very wide scope when you just say, oh, just work in the area of discipline. But I guess penalty discipline or something like that, right? Some type of verbiage. But they've got to get better with that, because how many times have we seen, guys do something reckless on third down when they were going to get a team off the field? It's third down, a guy drops back, incomplete pass, it's fourth down, they're going to punt. Oh, nope, flag. Just helps them extend their drives. It's just so many things like that. And I think that he's got to find a way to get to corral that, because if we're trying to win a Super Bowl, you're going up against teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs and all these other great teams that we're going to be playing. You do that stuff in the playoffs, and you're going to get cooked, man. Can you imagine giving Andy Reid 3 or 4 more drives because you're committing penalties, or extending 3 or 4 drives for Andy Reid in the playoffs? Are you insane? He'll put you away. He'll put you away, man. So that's something that's got to get better. But as we talk about when you go to, because I think that's a point that you brought up about firing him because he's not a CEO head coach. I get it. People want to talk about CEO head coaches, but I've never thought that was realistic. Like, most coaches, they do favor a side of the ball, right? The other CEO head coach that a lot of people talk about is Mike Tomlin, right? Mike Tomlin, CEO head coach. But if you, even when his players talk about him, they talk about how he works more on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball. That's why they fired Mike Canada. That's why they fired their offensive coordinator, Canada, this year. Like, things weren't working out. So it's not like Mike Tomlin's going to take over the offense.
Was it in the middle of the season or the end of the season?
Who? That they fired Canada?
The Steelers, yeah.
Yeah, I think they recently fired him some weeks ago. They got rid of him, and the offense was struggling. It was struggling under him, and Steelers fans were screaming for them to move on from him, and then eventually they did. So, look, I get it. CEO head coach. Yeah. But he is totally responsible for the team. But it's like, hey, when you look at what he's putting together, and he's putting the top defense out on the field week after week after week, it's like, man, it's tough to blame him for a lot of the shenanigans that are going on, especially, again, when you brought in Aaron Rodgers and you brought in the other guy that literally runs the scheme that him and Aaron Rodgers put together, but Aaron Rodgers goes down. So that's kind of my retort to thinking he should be fired for the output of the offense, when they did what they needed to do, but things just didn't work out because of the injury of Aaron Rodgers. Give me your thoughts, Val.
Right. Listen, and just going back on the Mike Tomlin's Mike situation and stuff like that, I will say, man, like, that's the CEO head coach right there. If things are not going right, he's going to get him out of here. Like, the offense has been very stalemate since the beginning of this, since the first game. It just, we definitely came off of the Buffalo game, but the Dallas Cowboys game and so on, it's just been really bad week after week after week. Even, where's the adjustments? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to if somebody's not doing their job correctly, you gotta be tough and you say, you know what, listen, this is not working out. Let's go and get the best offensive coordinator that we could get. And to be honest, he chose, Nathaniel Hackett after having a bad season after the Denver Broncos. They got rid of him and stuff for being a bad head coach, and it just hasn't been working out. So, he has to be held accountable as well, too, because he could have got any other offensive coordinator. Me, personally, I would have went to go and get Eric the Enemy and stuff. Because listen, he was definitely good for on the Chiefs and stuff, and he would have definitely put up some trickeries. You know, we wouldn't be so I would say bland on offense and stuff that we're running basically the same plays. And I'm looking at the Dallas. I'm not the Dallas. I'm looking at the Dolphins. Hard Knocks, man, they run so much trickery plays, and I'm just like, man, if only we had a head coach or like an offensive coordinator like that, we will be rolling. Especially if we had Nicole Hardman, Garrett Wilson, we would actually utilize our weapons correctly. We will be winning so many other. But yeah, their formations is beautiful. But I will say, we got one more year here. Joe Douglas as well too. They definitely need to take advantage for sure, man. Like I said, this is a one and done situation. They got one more year.
Listen, Val, we have this discussion. I think they have more than one more year here. If the New York Jets, let me tell you why, and I want to hear from you. If the New York Jets finish, let's say, one game outside the playoffs, right, and we miss the playoffs, I don't think they're going to fire Robert Saleh then either, because Aaron Rodgers is going to return for another season. I think that they're going to ride out as long as Aaron Rodgers wants to be here, and there's just improvement. Like if there's marked improvement where we're almost making the playoffs, but we miss out slightly, I still don't think they'll fire him, because then the narrative will be, hey, we can retool, we'll get back to it. And I think they'll do that, because as long as he was here, as long as Aaron Rodgers is here, the Jets truly have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And when you're in win now, like we are in win now, we all know that. The second we got Aaron Rodgers, we went into win now mode. So when you're in win now mode, you can't make massive changes like that. We're right at the cusp. Like we're literally right at the cusp of doing something. And if that's there, I don't think they fire him. I don't think they'll fire him, Val. I don't.
Yeah.
If you were going to fire him for any year, this would be the year you would fire him then.
Yeah, and listen, and I totally agree with you, man. Like, you making some good points, man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's the only one that's really holding them up, saving them from right now. But listen, if things turn around and just like you said, if penalties stop and we get a good offensive line, the only way to get the Jets back on your side, the Jets fans, is for us to win games. We have the defense. It just hurts so bad that we have a ready now defense that is ready to go to the Super Bowl. But the offense has been so bad week after week. It's just heartbreaking because we have so much expectations this past all season, and just for them to punt on a season, you can understand why some fans are like, really ticked off of the team right now and the organization, especially not taking, like I said before, I said this last week, but not taking no backup calls. You know what I'm saying? Even though the quarterback has been bad, so it's just man. That's my.
And
only thing.
we're talking about firing Robert Saleh. Nobody's even really talking about. Look, I understand you want to get rid of Saleh, but why haven't we fired Nathaniel Hackett? He's the biggest issue.
He's the one that
he's
should
the
be
biggest
fired.
issue. Yes. He's the one that absolutely should be fired. He's still here. So if you ain't gonna fire him, I doubt you fire Robert Saleh again. Now I will say this: if the Jets, I want to be very clear for people that are listening. If the Jets come back next season and fall off of a cliff, this thing does not go well, that's when I think they will be fired. But if they're a game out of the playoffs, or if they make the playoffs, they're not getting fired. they're not getting fired, bro. They're not getting fired.
And I won't even be mad at it because we're progressing. Yeah. I want us to progress. I want us to go up. We're trending down again. Like I said, we shouldn't even be talking about who's a better head coach, Adam Gase or Robert Saleh. That shouldn't even be a question. That's bad, man. That is very bad. That's how I feel like we just had an Adam Gase type of season, but we have a great defense. It's very torturing, man. Because I see the potential of this team, Joe.
Yeah. I see it.
I do got to ask you
see it every week.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Oh, no, I do have to ask you one question. There was a rumor that was going around. I don't really believe it. I feel like it's just a rumor that they just there How do you feel about Justin Fields' name being brought up with him potentially becoming the backup quarterback?
Here with the Jets, I heard something about that. I don't remember who was talking. I've heard something. I don't know if that'll happen, and I don't know where that's coming from or why all of a sudden people are talking about Justin Fields, becoming a backup here out of all places. I have no clue.
Right.
The thing is that Justin Fields, and there's been talks about him, rumors circulating about him not working out in Chicago and them looking to move on from him, and they've continued to roll with him. I think that Justin Fields, I think he's talented. I think that they need to continue to surround him with weapons, but I don't know if Chicago's even going to get rid of him because according to all the rumors, they were supposed to trade him last season. All the rumors that were floating. Nothing ever came out publicly. He was supposed to be gone last season. Gone. I'm talking with the wind. And nothing happened.
Yep.
I mean, he's still there. And so I don't understand, where the talk is for him to come here and be a backup quarterback is. I don't even know if he even fits the system that we're currently running now. I'm sure he has the ability to do so. I think he's better than people give him credit for. But I don't know if that's going to happen at all. To be honest with you, and I know people ain't going to want to hear this, I would not be surprised if Zach Wilson returns here next season at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. The way that Joe Douglas, say it again?
They're going to eat that $20 million that he's owed?
I wouldn't be. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they work out some type of deal with Zach Wilson, like the Packers did with Love, where they extend him and maybe give him 2 years or 3-year extension, because, and this is again the power of Aaron Rodgers. And he was brought here to not only fix the offense, be better on the field, but he was brought here to fix Zach Wilson. That's why I tell people he has way more power than people are talking about. And I've been talking about this. Yeah, this guy he's very powerful within our organization because he holds the keys to our future with his play, and he holds the keys to our future with Zach Wilson. He's here to fix him too. So
that's
I could see
third on my list
working
when it was. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's why he was third on my list when it came to us, the free agency, because I knew this was going to happen, but I was hoping everything was going to go good. But,
listen,
man.
I would not be surprised if Zach Wilson signs and again, maybe it won't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if he signed some type of extension here for the next maybe 2 years or 3 years, whenever Aaron Rodgers is done, to stay here and be a backup quarterback for us. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because he's not itching. He doesn't look like the type of person that look like he would be like, oh, I want to start. I want to be a starter. I don't want to be behind a quarterback all this long. He looks like he's trying to, learn and go through the process. That's what it is looking like from the outside looking in and stuff like that. He doesn't look like that type of quarterback. So
and the thing is here with Zach Wilson too, that I think he'll get a chance at some point if he does stay here for the next 2, maybe 3 years. He'll get a chance to compete and either be the starter or be in the talks of being a starter. If he goes somewhere else, he's gonna have to learn a whole new offense. And I don't think any other team is really interested in him like that. That's why I don't think we can trade him either. I don't think we can trade him because of that. There's no value. Nobody wants him. If they did, he would have been gone. People wanted Elijah Moore, he was gone. People wanted Jamal Adams, he was gone. Nobody wanted Denzel Mims like that. Not seriously, for the type of capital that, and we ended up releasing him. So
there wasn't a lot of film either. I said it wasn't a lot of I would say film on Denzel Mims as well too. He was injured a lot.
Well,
and he didn't get a lot of plays.
He was hurt a lot, but I'll tell you what, he was on the field enough for teams to get a feel of what he was, and there wasn't enough capital, and he was screaming to get up out of here. So again, I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. I know Jets fans are like, Joe, I'm telling you, I would not be shocked if Zach Wilson remains here somehow. I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked either, Joe. He's I feel like he's very protective, and he's very protected in this organization. And there was some kind of I would say some type of connection to Woody Johnson and stuff. So I don't know how true that is with the JetBlue or something. I'm not sure about that because of his dad. I don't know what that does, but yeah, that's what I was hearing. So
yeah.
Yeah,
so before
man.
I let you go, Val.
Okay.
Before I let you go, this has been a great talk. Jets, Patriots, we've lost to them 15 times in a row. But they looking beatable, baby. They looking beatable. Maybe 16 might be the 16 try might be the try we need, all right? They're looking beatable. Do you think this is the game we beat them? Give me your thoughts about this upcoming game, Jets, Patriots. And what is your final score prediction, man?
Alrighty. Listen, I'm going to be smart right now. Listen, a lot of people, this is controversy. A lot of people's not going to agree with me. I understand. But as Jets fans, we have to be smart. We are at number 8 right now in the draft. If we lose, we're going to be if we lose, we're going to probably be at 8 or lower. So that's what we want. But if we win, we're going to be in the teens. Then it's going to be really hard to get a good offensive line to protect the quarterback position. Let's think long term, okay? Like, we could get them back next season. They're going to be weak, probably weak again next season. We will get them. But for now, let's just lay down and, hopefully we lose. But, all right,
wow.
I will say.
Wow. I want to put this out there. Listen, Val is giving his take. I just want to say this quickly. It's not guaranteed that we'll lose major if we do win. It's not guaranteed that we will, drop all the way down the board because, again, it still depends on the other team and if they win and lose. So we could win and still be solid, but, Val is giving his take and his outlook. Continue, Val. I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Yep, so it's not guaranteed, but I will say I want to be protected. I want to be secure.
You want to be protected. I respect it.
Yeah. But for the score, I say it's going to be 14-21.
14-21 Jets?
Yes, Patriots to win the game.
14-21 Jets or Patriots? Which one?
Patriots to win. Yes.
Oh, man.
The Patriots 21 Jets.
14-21 Patriots. All right.
Oh, I got to we're going to win this game. Oh, man.
All right. All right. Listen, Val, I want to thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
All right, Joe, you too, man. Happy New Year to everybody again. And whatever Joe says at the end, listen, no proof, no evidence. It's all speculations. All right, see you, Joe.
Oh, my Lord. There's no speculation. Anything I tell y'all about Val is the truth, all right? No, I can provide the proof, y'all. I can provide the proof. Salute to everybody, man. A lot of great discussion tonight. JC, I see you in the building. Salute. So what's up, Joe and the Savages? Salute, man. Salute to everybody. Bree, I see you. Bree says, if Zach stays in the locker room, the locker room and the fan base will mutiny. He's talking about next season. Listen, excuse me, I'm telling people, I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Wilson is still on this roster next season. And I don't think it's going to be, especially with Aaron Rodgers returning, I don't think they'll go crazy. I don't. I really don't. Because he won't be the starter. I think, if Aaron Rodgers returned next season and Zach Wilson, I could see Zach Wilson being brought back somehow. I'm telling you. That extension, what they did with Love, I could see them doing that with Zach Wilson too. I could see that. I could see an extension, a year or 2 years, something like that. I could see it happening. But that's just me. Okay? That's just me. We'll see how it plays out. Got a lot of things moving and shaking coming up in this offseason, a lot of things the New York Jets are going to have to address as well. And we'll continue to do shows throughout that time. All right? So we'll see what's happening, man. We'll see what's happening because, boy, oh, boy, there's going to be some things going on. I know a lot of people talking about tanking as well. I understand. I'm not bashing fans that think like that, but I'm not a guy that pulls for the New York Jets to lose because I just don't, okay? That's not my thing. But I think New York Jets are definitely going to be able to utilize capital if need be to move up the draft board if, they get further down. So with all that being said, My take, Jets-Patriots upcoming game. Man, this is a very beatable Patriots football team. We've lost 15 times in a row to them. A lot of people want to get rid of Belichick. I hope they do because I'm just tired of that guy. If there was any time we were going to beat them, now would be the time. Now, of course, I'm thinking Zach Wilson should clear the concussion protocol and actually play, but it hasn't been made official yet. But even with Trevor Siemian out there, with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson we know is going to play to the wall. He's never going to stop. I am concerned about our matchup, though, because I think the Patriots are the 6th-ranked defense in the league. These guys rush the passer. They can get after it. They definitely stop the run as well. I think they're like 2nd in the league against the run. But their offense is cheeks, and our defense can rush the passer as well and get after it. It is in Foxborough. I have some concerns, especially with us. This is the end of the season. I want to see us finish the season strong so that we can go into the offseason with momentum. So I want to see, I want to see if Robert Saleh can ensure that these guys will come out and, not be lethargic. Come out with some fire. Come out with some fight. Come out ready to go. Come out, knowing that, hey, look, I'm going to put it all on the line, to end the season. I'm going to give it all that I got. Then we're going to go into the offseason and correct things and be right back next season and do what we got to do. That's what I want to see from Robert Saleh and this Jets team. So with all that said, I'm taking the Jets to beat the Patriots. I'm taking the Jets to beat the Patriots 20-13. 20-13, I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets. They can come after me, but I'm taking the Jets. So what a phenomenal show. I'm going to close some things up. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I should hear on The Long Beach Joe Show. I am also on Twitter as well. Go on over to Twitter. Type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Follow. I'll follow you right back. If you don't troll me, no issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times, all right? Can't wait for him to come back, man. Put him back at right guard. Let him do his thing, okay? So I'll be there, all right? I'm also on YouTube as well. Come on over to YouTube. Type in Long Beach Joe Show. Type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. All right? And if you're going to troll me, get in those comments and let's go back and forth as well. And as always, people, when you see me in person, because you will see me in person, okay? You will. It is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing, okay? I want to thank you folks for listening. I want to thank you folks for taking the time out of your day to interact with your boy any way that you do. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. Salutes to the subscribers as well, people subscribing. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. Salutes to everybody calling in, man. And again, Happy New Year to everyone, okay? Happy New Year. Make this year your year, all right? All right? Be safe out there. So until the next show, you folks have a good one. Peace.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.